Hello. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, October 31st. It is Halloween. Ted should be popping on here any moment. There he is, straight from Deprogram. There you are, Ted. Happy Halloween. I am Manila
Halloween
Jan.
to you too.
That is Ted Rall. I was thinking about wearing a spooky mask, but then I just can't be bothered, Ted.
Why?
Can't be.
I mean, yeah. Well, I'm I wasn't into masking during the pandemic.
Right.
So.
Exactly. That could have been my funny Halloween mask. Just putting on a COVID mask. Scary. That's even scarier.
I have asthma and I fucking hated those masks.
Yeah, I've heard that from other asthmatics as well. Other people with, like breathing issues, that they were not happy about that.
And of course, the good masks that you couldn't get, the N95s, Oh, everyone should wear an N95. Really? I didn't, none at the store, and you guys didn't send me any, and, but it's like, and those are airtight. And if you wear them properly, God help you, you're just like,
oh Lord.
I was literally like, well, I'll die of COVID or I'll just die of the mask. I mean, I don't know.
It's not breathing. The best. Yeah, that's the best. That was the funnest part about COVID was I would watch people jogging outside wearing these masks. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, God. I saw
what are you
people
doing?
in the woods hiking wearing a mask. And I'm like, did you not read anything about like
the solo drivers?
Yeah, solo drivers with the windows up. And then my favorite is I still see these I'm free nosing
there's still
it.
People like that.
The free nosers, right? Like I'm free nosing it,
yeah.
Man. And it's like, missing the point, right?
Yeah, like why are you wearing the mask?
Why are you free nosing? By the way, there's some.
Like you're breathing in the particles. If you're.
By the way, I'm gonna ethnically profile here. Black people free nose.
I did see that, but then I thought, well, unless they like to breathe through their mouths, I don't mean black people. I mean the free nosers. Anybody, because I've seen a lot of every color of free nosers.
There's non-black free nosers.
Unless they are mouth breathers.
Exclusively
mouth breathers.
I mean, that was me. I mean, do you think these are like free nosers have incredible nasal control and they're like not one molecule of air will pass in or out of my nostrils. It's like
or Ted.
Or maybe they have such bushy nose hairs that they're blocking everything up.
Oh, I mean, it could be, or it could just be that
like
they
Andy
were
Rooney
trying to
style.
protect. They were protecting us from their cough particles. Maybe maybe they didn't care so much about breathing in COVID. Maybe they had the COVID and they didn't want to cough it out at us. Could be. I don't know. But there's a lot of.
You could still sort of snorble it out through your nose too.
Yeah, but the mist and anyway, we could save that conversation for like not a fun Friday, like maybe on Monday, because there's all this new COVID conversation about like pregnancy and COVID, all this other stuff. But that's not really fun for Fun Friday.
No. Although
especially on Halloween.
Certainly it's I will say it's the most real life. It's a very real life horror story that most people who are watching and listening
for sure
went through.
For sure. And it seems that everybody forgot about it. Or at least the Cuomo campaign thought they've forgotten about it.
They hoped. In New York
City.
Yeah. How much do people really like their grandparents anyway? Really?
Yeah. Just like I was really waiting on that Victorian house, waiting on Grandma to kick that bucket. Like I really, like I was really hoping for that Massapequa house, Ted. About time Grandma kick it. Bye.
I need that shit. Yeah.
So anyway, on today's show, we're going to keep it fun and light, obviously, because it's rare, Ted, that Halloween falls on a Friday or Saturday. I mean, it's every 8-ish years, it falls 7 years, right? That would be the math, because 7 days a week. So 7 years, it falls on a Friday. So between 7 and 8 years, we get Halloween to fall on a great day where the next day kids don't have to get up for school and parent, so this is like a great thing when you're a parent of a kid that has a kid my age, right? Like elementary school age kid. It's a big deal. And also the worst day, Ted, for child vehicular manslaughter.
Is that still true?
It's still, truer than other days.
I mean, one of the things that I heard recently from some New York official who was talking about this week is one of the most dangerous one of the dangerous periods in New York State, is because it's so fucking dark so early. And so basically the drivers are just not used to, they just can't see pedestrians as much.
And people
and that's only going to get bigger. Like,
they
of course,
just de-gaff.
Yeah, we're falling back to normal time this weekend. And by the way, I want to remind everyone,
Saturday night
is at 2 a.m., right? That's the real time we're getting back to. That's like the planet time. Like this is
the
fake.
Non-daylight saving.
You're supposed to wake up early. The sun's supposed to come up early, and it does. And sometimes it's not summer. And I'm sorry,
the majority of Americans,
at 5, and that sucks. But that's how it is.
The majority of Americans are against daylight saving. So that
However, but Congress, in its infinite wisdom, the only plan that they have is to actually make it permanent. So daylight savings would become 365
Wait, so they would keep
days
this
a year.
time, the time that we have right now.
No fallback.
Lock this in.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, that would cause billions of dollars in accidents, lost productivity.
No, the other way is better. Like the time that we'll be recognizing on Sunday afternoon, that will be
because the key thing is dawn. Your circadian rhythms are set when you wake up, and that's what matters.
Right now, it's still dark out at 7 a.m.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, so the majority of the country,
and kids are walking to school too.
I know I'm not. The school sent me a whole. Anyway, that's a whole different. They sent me a whole survey about different school start times or whatever, and
oh really?
They're so dumb.
Are they giving you options?
Yes, for the future, like 2 years from now or so. But it's really dumb because they never take into account daylight saving, because the school year starts and then like 2 months later the time changes. Right? So I take into account the daylight, because if my kid gets out of school at 4:00, well, it's fucking dark at 4:30. Like,
sure.
So they're not taking into account. So anyway, I'm with the majority of Americans. 54% is what I saw, I think, from Pew or so. So a little more than half of all Americans believe we should nix daylight saving. But anyway, today is dangerous for everyone out there, the parents and kids alike, for pedestrians. So please be careful. If you guys are out there, seriously, please be careful. There's a lot of people out, teenagers doing stupid things out on the street. Please be careful if you guys are out driving wherever you are. And like I mentioned on the earlier shows this week, that Halloween has proliferated around the world. It's like all over Asia. It's in the Gulf states. People be out trick-or-treating. Kids be out doing Halloween now, like all around the world. So please be careful.
So wait,
wherever you guys are
in the Gulf states, do all the girls dress like black ghosts?
Oh. Well, the thing is, when you're a little girl.
Wait, let me think. Wait, what are you? Oh, black ghost. Oh, what are you? Oh, you're so cute. Black ghost.
No, it's when you're a little girl. I don't know I don't know if there is a hard, at least in the Gulf states. I don't know about the other, like Sharia law states. But I could tell you in the Gulf region, the little girls, generally, you can show your hair and just have a carefree, unrestricted, like in Dubai, unrestricted, normal Western wear until if you're a girl, more or less till you hit puberty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
So more or less right around then.
But it does depend. There are some real fanatic Wahhabis types who they're
for sure. But generally, the folks in Dubai, from what I saw, the little girls don't have to start wearing abayas.
Certainly up until like 10, I would say they're probably cool.
Yeah. So more or less middle school. That's kind of when you start wearing the abaya. So even when I was there, we're talking 2008, 2009 into 2010, the kids were starting, like I told you the other day, I'm like, why are you guys, I'm celebrating Thanksgiving because I'm an American away from my family. Like,
yeah, like what's your story? What's your deal?
why are you guys doing Thanksgiving? But Halloween, I was like, wow, the malls are doing like horror stuff and the kids are trick-or-treating. Like, it's a thing. And it's like massive now. So I implore everybody that's out there, like, don't be in a rush today. Give yourself time because there are children all around the world
Manila,
walking right now.
I have to ask you about this because I thought about this like inexplicably at like 3 a.m. last night. Like, not everyone likes Halloween.
Something
You know, there are people,
spooky?
you bring up Halloween, they're like, oh God, I fucking hate Halloween.
Yeah,
You know,
why?
I mean, I'm not one of those people. I actually like it, but
Yeah, you hate Thanksgiving.
I hate Thanksgiving, but I have reasons. So and the people I know who have who hate Thanksgiving, I mean hate Halloween, they don't like to wear any, you know, they don't want to be pressured to wear a costume. I'm down with that. I don't wear. There was although although I will say that for Halloween 2001, I went as Osama bin Laden. Quite the reaction.
Too soon, Ted.
By the way, I realized that bin Laden already had suffered tremendous for what he did because I had to wear that beard, the fake beard, and like all the plastic beard stuff was getting into my mouth. And I was like, just living with that beard is punishment enough for killing 3,000.
Yeah, but maybe it's not like that when you have a natural beard. You know, like the guys from ZZ Top, like they've worn that for decades. Like
yeah, but they might as well kill 3,000 people each too because it's horrible. I mean, I never had a big beard, but when you have a beard, you have to trim all.
John Bolton, he's been wearing that for decades.
You have to trim around the lips, otherwise you'd be eating your beard, and it's
John Bolton has been wearing the stash for decades.
That's because his wife, the wife, is after the walrus.
No, we're not talking about the Bolton sex tapes. We're not. Talk about horror film, man. Like, no. Okay, so
I hear he's laying pipe like nobody's business.
No, please, God, no. Like, no.
No, yeah, they say he's the coxman of the Beltway.
Disgusting thought. This just absolutely disgusting thought. Like, if you thought Hunter Biden was throwing it around, you got it all wrong. All wrong, folks.
The thing is, at least Hunter Biden is.
No.
Question: is Hunter Biden a good-looking guy? I think he is, but what do I know?
He was, but drugs always fuck you up.
Yeah, that's true.
Like anyone that had the potential to be somewhat good-looking, like which he did. He was a good-looking younger guy, but then, as drugs always do, it not only ages you, but it actually deteriorates what you look like. Like you just. It's a shame, man. And then not to mention your teeth, like just the holes in your brain, like your syphilitic brain, like
that. Yeah. I will say even before any of that, though, he did have a douchey look. Biden's have a douchey look
for sure. Well, yes, but he was. I thought Beau was a decent looking guy too. You know, the good son.
Still a little douchey.
But they just have that East Coast, like, do you even row? Like that kind of, it's that kind of look, right? Like I go to Yale and I'm on the row team.
Another chance to make a coxman joke or a coxswoman.
That's the look. That's at least my impression. That's a West Coast girl out here on the East Coast.
I said, let's go see Milford High.
Like, I don't know. These are guys. That's what my impression of old money East Coast boys look like. And that's, again, coming from a purely West Coast girl in ripped jeans and walking around flip-flops and wife beaters, right? Like that's what I look like. I came out here and my impression was people that look like Beau and Hunter Biden, and they're on, they're all Ivies, and they all are on row teams and date girls named Millicent.
I would, as you know, I will argue with you if I disagree. I'm not going to disagree here.
So you've been out here on the East Coast way longer than me. So that's a pretty fair assessment, right? Like in this DC area. 100%. Yeah, that was my impression. Boat shoes, people that hang out in Georgetown, like like everyone's got like some stupid little rinky dink boat and they're like, I'm going boating this weekend.
I learned a chote At Phillips Andover.
You are a chode.
Phillips, you're a chode.
That was me coming to DC, and hence why dating was very difficult for me.
See, I would never have dated if I had to date like in California, because they all want like the surfer dudes there.
That's true. We all like the Keanu Reeves, Ted. I mean,
it's one of those things where I don't even blame you. It's like
we like the Keanu Reeves. We like
that.
The Jason Momoas.
Yeah, I wasn't popular there. Girls never looked at me. LA was better. LA was better somehow. Yeah.
Well, SoCal is more open. Like, but anyway, see, Fun Friday. It's unrestricted. We'll
it's
get
always
to
unrestricted. It's TMI show, yo. We talk about anything, whatever the fuck we want.
That is true, because it's
like
all
this
TMI,
is like.
But
do you ever hear the Sex Pistols version of is it Substitute? No, that's the Who song. Stepping Stone. They do a cover of I'm Not Your Stepping Stone. I'm not your stepping stone.
Oh.
And it's like, so, and anyway, it's a live session and they released it. And at one point, someone, probably Glenn Matlock, says, "Do we have permission to do this?" And Johnny Rotten goes, "We don't need permission to do anything."
Yes.
And that's how we
love
are
that
here on the TMI show.
That is, yeah. And Ted, because we spent decades in traditional media where we weren't allowed to do this.
We're not allowed to do anything. It just doesn't fucking matter.
But times they are a changing, Ted. So, so, and I love it. So anyway, let me jaws it. We'll get to the news before we bring in our guests, because it is going to be Fun Friday. We're going to talk about horror films. I believe the lady joining us, she goes by ReAnimateHer.
Yeah, check her
she's
out.
the queen of streaming screaming. I like that. It's hard to say. But I believe she's up in Canada, Ted.
Oh.
In like Alberta.
Ooh.
Is she near the Alberta Sands? Can she tell us about the scary drilling that happens there? The fires, maybe even? I don't know. But we're going to talk about like, she's a horror movie aficionado. She has a big following all over all the socials. So we're going to have some fun conversation, especially because the story that, Ted, that I assigned to you about the Hollywood box office, it ties right in perfectly. So
cool.
Let's get to it. All right. So this first story, so I'm going to put this up on screen, Ted. I've got some visuals here. I've got some visuals about refugees and stuff. So here's that. Okay. So since this story is about refugees, I've got visuals here. So the Trump administration is going to restrict the number of refugees it admits into the United States next year to this tiny level of just 7,500. That's right, 7,500 people. And those spots will be filled first and foremost by white South Afrikaners. So this low number represents a dramatic drop after the U.S. previously allowed hundreds of thousands of people fleeing war or persecution around the world. The administration published the news last night in a notice on the Federal Registry. No reason was given for why the big drop, but that's a huge drop from...
a reason to be given, Manila. When you and
that's
I
true.
both know the reason.
Some logic would be good. But anyway, the Biden administration had their cap at 125,000. The AP had previously reported that the administration was considering admitting as few as 7,500 refugees, and mostly white South Africans. That was a leak from several weeks ago, and turns out it's true. So that's going to be for fiscal year 26. The figure had been reported because of supposed leaks, and then they when asked about it, the Trump administration kind of punted on answering whether that was true or not. This drips and reeks of Stephen Miller, Ted, for sure. Reeks.
You think? Why? Why him?
I mean, do I need to give you a reason?
Yes,
look at him. Look at him. First of all, look at him. But he's I believe when you hear like these horrid plans that restrict people, when you give preferential treatment to white-skinned people, it almost always comes from Stephen Miller.
And it's not really just
Almost always.
any white-skinned people. I mean, these are Afrikaners. I mean, this is the ultimate in racial. It's look. It's not to say
I don't hate
that,
these people. They didn't do it, right? Like
well,
they didn't
okay,
do.
but I'm
They
just
weren't the Dutch
no,
colonizers.
no. Although they're descended from them.
They're great grandparents. Fine.
No, I don't think you. I think you threw in one or two
Too many greats.
too many greats in there. But like the thing is, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. And look, the fact is that apartheid was only abolished in the 1980s or early 90s, if memory serves.
Yep.
So I mean, basically these are people who, look, it's true that there's been some discrimination and some attacks against white farmers in South Africa. It's nothing approaching the levels that we saw in Zimbabwe at all.
No.
But the fact is, it has. But when you say white South African Afrikaner, right, and these are people who, not all of them, but many of them are very far right, like almost neo-Nazi conservative. And I say this with some personal knowledge. My girlfriend in part of college was Afrikaner. And so I mean, like she was a very liberal girl. And even though, but she kept talking about like a boy who like lived in their household. And I was such a dingus that it took me months before I realized she was talking about a full out grown man who was a servant, some kind of house staffer. It's like, oh yes. So I asked this boy to do this or that. And I'm like,
oh, weird.
Oh, fuck. And I know people who are like 24 right now, you think like 1981 was a million years ago. But the fact is, in 1981, that shit was not cool. And
wow.
And I was
weird.
like, so yeah, and she was a liberal, right? She was anti-apartheid.
It was just part of
the culture,
the social fabric there. Yeah.
That's right.
Well,
That's well said.
So back in February, Trump signed an executive order to cut financial aid to South Africa after he accused its Black-led government of, quote, unjust racial discrimination to white Afrikaners, a minority group who are descendants of Dutch and French colonial settlers. The Trump administration has reportedly claimed that the South African government is implementing anti-white policies through a new land expropriation law that allegedly targets Afrikaners' land. The South African government has pushed back, calling the claim false, as well as denying U.S. accusations that Afrikaners are being subjected to racially motivated violence in these rural areas. Across South Africa, just here's some numbers, 72% of farms and ag are owned by white people who are only roughly just over 7% of the total population in South Africa. Black Africans make up more than 81% of the country's population, but they only own about 4% of the land. So, the proportionality that is a very obvious.
Yes, and and no, right? I mean, the thing is, Manila, like seriously, there's a disproportionately high percentage of New York barbershops that are owned by, Bukharan Jews from Uzbekistan. Okay.
Huh?
Is that because, there's a disproportion.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's like, so does that mean there's discrimination in favor of Bukharan Jews from Uzbekistan in the U.S.? No. What it means is that a lot of people happen to go from a certain ethnicity, happen to go into a certain line of work.
Right.
So it's kind of like, it's an interesting fact, but I wouldn't say, you could easily have a very diverse and open and, equitable as well as equal society with great inequity within a particular line of work.
Yeah.
It wouldn't
it's be, not cut and dry.
That's not an inherent contradiction is I guess my point. But
yeah, it's not cut and dry.
Certainly South Africa is also very agrarian. So because the agricultural structure, sector is so prevalent there, it definitely does say something, but maybe I just
it's not the full story.
Yeah, just want to caution.
No, that's good, and we're looking at numbers here of this is what the refugee admissions looked like for each fiscal year starting in 2001. So more or less since the new millennium, it was down to its lowest in fiscal year 2020, which is COVID, and 2021, it's still COVID, right? So that makes sense. But 2024, it almost hit the ceiling here at 125,000. So that's under Joe Biden.
Also, I think it's important, Manila, to talk about, like, it's not just when you're a refugee and you're admitted into the United States, you're not merely admitted. It's not like, oh, here you go, and the reason you're allowed in is because you're a refugee. That's true. But being a refugee confers a lot of privileges, financial privileges and advantages, as opposed to the normal immigrant who shows up here.
Yes.
When I worked at the admissions office at Columbia, I was shocked to learn that refugees get a full ride to any university that they get admitted to, including
Get out.
Harvard.
As a federal thing?
Yeah, they do.
Wow.
So like, and I was disgusted because it was 1992.
That's not cool.
The Soviet Union had collapsed the year before, and there were still people coming in as Soviet refugees. And I'm like, wow, Soviet refugee?
They're leftovers,
Ted. It's the Russian Federation. What are you talking about?
So here's what that looks like. I'm going to whiz through these real quick, and then we got to hop to our movie story before our guest pops in. So look, refugee admissions by region. Africa is already the highest number of refugees into the U.S. and this is 2024 numbers, so Biden era. Near East or South Asia, just under 30,000. Latin America or Caribbean, just over 25,000. East Asia, about 7,500. Europe and Central Asia, only about 3,100. So by the vast majority of the refugees, Ted, in fiscal year 24 came from Africa. So I guess I was surprised by this. And where in Africa? Congo, almost 20,000.
Yeah, I wonder what that's about.
DR Congo. Yeah,
I mean,
armed conflict, ongoing violence.
But that's true about a lot of places. And
yeah, Afghanistan came in second. I guess that would be Central or Near East, for just under 15,000, I should say. That makes sense, right? Like, we kind of broke their country.
we broke it. We semi own it, sort of.
So there's
we
that.
Don't take
that
responsibility because that's how we are.
Venezuela, just under 13,000 refugees. Syria, just over 11,000. Burma, just over 6,000. Ukraine, almost 6,000. Eritrea, a little over 5,000. El Salvador, about 5,000. Iraq, a little over 4,000. And Guatemala, just over 4,000. So there we are. That's what the refugee numbers look like. But of course, this is a protected class, and it's kind of crazy to see the numbers be slashed in that amount, Ted. So anyway, I don't want to keep our guest waiting too long. She has just popped in. So let's breeze through the Hollywood movie numbers, and it's actually being led. I'm going to, spoiler alert, it's actually Hollywood. We know it's dead, Ted. Dead Ted.
Oh my God.
We know it's dead, but it's actually being revived. It's only surviving because of this particular genre that we're going to dive into with our guest, which is kind of surprising. So, Ted, off to the races.
All right. I just want to, before we let go of the Afrikaners, though, look, Manila, we got to like stay this. I mean, this is totally a racist dog whistle, right? It's literally, this is to the alt-right. This is to the white nationalists. I mean, they're like, oh, it's Black people discriminating against poor, innocent, white, former, descendants of former colonizers. It's literally like, we're on Team Anglo. That's what this is about.
Yes.
And that's why I gotta say, it's exquisitely disgusting.
This is definitely a Stephen Miller thing. That's it. That's my take. That's my read.
And you don't think it's exquisite? I mean, it is exquisitely disgusting.
Oh, yeah, it's horrible. Like, really? They're going to get the preference when there's so many worse things happening around the world? That's the whole point of this refugee program, is to pluck people out of the jaws of death. That's the whole idea, right? I don't think most South Africaners, or Afrikaners rather, are, in the jaws of like lions or something
And
right now.
look,
So
honestly, if they are, like, okay, let's take them in, but not just them.
I know. It's just a wild number.
Well, this
All
is a
right.
disgusting, Trump thing. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's move over to the fun Friday part.
Okay, let's do it. Here we go. All right, Halloween is shaping up to be scarier than expected for Hollywood and its partners, and not in a good way. Box office revenue in the US for October of this year is going to come in at about 425 million. That's the worst in 27 years, according to ComScore. This excludes October 2020 during the pandemic lockdown, when revenue was just 55 million, powered by Christopher Nolan's movie Tenet. If you remember that, Tenet was the only Hollywood movie that came out really at that time, and they released it online, and it was $20 to download it, and I was one of the idiots who did it. And
You
God,
did?
and it's a piece of shit too. Otherwise, the last time, don't watch Tenet. Anyway, otherwise, the last time October was this bad was 1997, when combined ticket sales were just 385.2 million, and not adjusted for inflation. In 98, revenue went up to 455 million before crossing 600 for the first time a year later in 99. Blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. Programming October, aside from Halloween-themed movies, is historically a chance for studios and independent distributors to take a breather after the summer blockbusters and to get ready for the year-end holidays. It's also when they begin to launch their award movies. But as the calendar gets more crowded, studios started relying on off-peak months and began opening higher-profile films in October. This culminated with a record 832 million in 2018, when the movie Venom from Sony brought in $190 million in October alone, followed by the reboot of A Star is Born and the reboot of Halloween. I see a theme there. So what happened this time? It was a perfect storm of not enough product due to the leftover production delays caused by the strikes, a bad August and a weak September, and also a lot of people just didn't like this year's movies. The Tron Ares from Disney was a movie that has a 0% chance of anyone in Ted Rall's household to see. Clovis is not going to go see it.
Read the number. Read the number. How weak.
63 million domestically to date. Although there was once a time when that would not have been so bad. But excluding 2020, that's the worst top film showing since DreamWorks' The Wallace and Gromit movie 2 decades ago in 2005, which, by the way, is good, and worth seeing.
That was a cute movie, yeah.
If you have, it's good for the kids. Another major screw up was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson starring in The Smashing Machine. I have to admit, again, I was like, why would I want to see that?
I've never even heard of that.
Anyway, the drama had major awards and box ambitions, and it's only brought in $11 million, basically worth about as much as Clovis's litter box. That's the worst for The Rock ever. But however, it might give him a shot at an Oscar, which, that's weird.
Really?
If it wasn't for the official release party of a showgirl, Taylor Swift's weird theatrical event tied to her new album, things would be even worse. Her quote, you've seen those ads for these cinematic experiences.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
So it's not a film, actually. Anyway, $34 million came in from that, which crushed Smashing Machine. The anime movie Chainsaw Man, the movie, I have no idea even what that would be. Did well relatively with 18 million, and Dragon Slayer Infinity also did pretty well.
Or Demon Slayer.
Oh, Demon Slayer, my mistake. Then the Bruce Springsteen biopic drama Deliver Me from Nowhere did very poorly, $9 million. by the way, I have a whole take on that Nebraska album that nobody says, right? Just want to say very quickly. People say, oh, like Bruce fans were disappointed, but like, what's going on with Nebraska? But for people like me who are from flyover country, I was like, oh, finally, there's a movie that shows like that he's relevant to people like us. So it was like, it wasn't like just a risk to his old fans. It was a way to get new fans. And I don't think people appreciate that enough. Anyway, another milestone was achieved in 2018 when combined sales for the fall cleared 800 million, and for the first time, Sony used October to open up a comic book movie. Venom 1 did very well. Warner and DC followed suit with Joker in October 2019.
Yeah,
painful to watch. Very, I know, like what's his
yeah,
name? He did
very good though.
But
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix is his, but it's possible to have a great Joaquin Phoenix or great actor performance in a movie that's not fun to watch, and I'd say that's one of them. Anyway, total sales for the month came in at 788, second best ever. Year to date, it continues to run ahead of last year by 3.3, but of course, obviously, we're still digging out of the pandemic. Long story short, so they're looking forward now to Avatar, Fire and Ash. In other words, Avatar 2, James Cameron.
Really?
I have to say, this is one of those movies that's like when they made Short Circuit 2, like why?
Oh yeah, that was no.
Avatar
why?
sucks.
No.
Avatar.
Yeah, Avatar. Avatar 1 sucked. Like
it sucks. It's just like, hi, look, we have AI, whatever, fuck you. And then and then the next SpongeBob SquarePants movie is
SpongeBob is pretty great.
I mean, I do like SpongeBob, so that has
like
potential. And there's Anacondas, so once there was one Anaconda. See, I was hoping it would be Anacondae, but like I'm
okay.
And anyway, with awards player Marty Supreme. I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
Cast is led by Timothée Chalamet. So anyway,
I know Timothée Chalamet is a big name.
Look, here's the thing. We can talk about that with our guests, but I personally think the Hollywood is just has never really been good at giving the people what they want. They sort of do what they want, and then they sort of justify it afterwards. They just used to be that what they wanted to do was really cool. These days, not so much.
Yeah, and I think that's really what's very telling about Hollywood is for years, and I've been saying this as an observer, like that being the hometown for me, and so many of my friends are in that industry, and they've moved. I mean, really, Hollywood is no longer Hollywood. It's not. First of all, movies aren't made there anymore, number one. Number two, when COVID rolled in, and this is what we were joking about at the start of the show, that what was scarier than the whole of 2020 or 2021, right? Everyone's terrified with their masks. That when COVID shut down Hollywood, everybody migrated to the small screen. Everybody migrated to streaming, and I think that migration that was the nail in the coffin for big Hollywood features. And I think one of the great things that came from that is, we've seen that there's no real like Hollywood like films that are cool, films that really matter, like something like fun that you would see over the holidays, like Die Hard. Like, where's that stuff, right? That doesn't come out. But what we have seen is the expansion of horror films. I'm no expert on that, which is why producer Robbie found us
horror movies.
No, I do watch. I'm no expert on it though. I mean, I love the genre. I love all things like Tim Burton, and I love like kind of the dark macabre. Like I grew up watching the Munsters. I love all of that stuff. I love the aesthetic. Like I may not look like it personally, but I love that stuff. I have like, you can't see it, but on the other side of the camera, I have like skulls and like witchy stuff on the other side. So I don't look like it. I also don't look like I'm covered in tattoos, but I'm covered in tattoos, right? Like that's the different aesthetic that I had to portray for my career, right? But in real life, what I actually like is this horror stuff. I'm just not an expert in it. But our guest Our guest who is joining us is, I'm going to pop her on now. First time on the show. I believe she's from the Great White North.
That I
This
am.
Media.
ReAnimateHer, the streaming queen of Scream.
We
She's
apologize
a horror
to you on behalf of our president.
She's a horror film aficionado, a gamer, and a content creator. You can see her work on YouTube. She hosts a Coffee Chat of Horrors, the go-to stream for all things spooky. Just search ReAnimateHer on YouTube, and you can see her stuff. She talks about. I love the look at this aesthetic. Thank you for the wonderful Halloween aesthetic. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Thank you guys so much for having me on last minute.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that our producer found you. I love it. You probably just heard me saying, I don't personally rock the aesthetic publicly. But that was, what I've had to do for my day job. I had to keep up certain appearances.
Yep.
But I love the macabre aesthetic. And Ted and producer Robbie are humoring me because today's Halloween and it's Fun Friday, because we always do Fun Friday. So I got to ask you, since you're a horror movie buff.
Yeah.
And we talked about this on the show yesterday, because they have placated my obsession with the macabre this week. We were talking about a ruling in China in a legal case, is that a young girl, her parents sued the school because the school showed a horror movie to the kids about 2 years ago. It's been ongoing, and she had a mental break. She snapped. So it's been a 2-year case. They just ruled on it this month, and they ruled that the school was only responsible for about 30% of her snap. So it's very strange. But it was a horror film, and apparently it made her go off the deep end. But she's back. She's apparently on her road to wellness. But given your expertise in the genre, can you tell us of any more? Have you heard of this happening? Do horror films make people insane?
Personally, no, I don't think so. Just like video games don't make people violent. I think there's something wrong with the person that may not be, seen at front. Maybe they had an underlying mental health issue to begin with that wasn't taken care of. I don't think the movies or video games make people inherently violent. I think it's however they're raised, what's their environment like. Yeah, I can't get behind that the horror movie made her do it, because I watch horror movies since I was a little girl. I started watching my first horror movie at 5, and it was mostly the classic monsters. My grandmother introduced me to it, but I'm not a murderous psycho, and I love American Psycho. It's one of my favorite movies and novels, so I don't know.
Yeah, I love all that stuff too. I grew up watching Elvira and all, the Munsters. I kind of always identified with Cousin Marilyn, but I didn't grow up to, want to make potions and do, not it. So I don't know. Maybe, the judge also said maybe it was the Constitution, the way she was born. She was a little softer than other kids, but
I would have to say there was probably something wrong mentally or emotionally with her, and something triggered that she's seen in the movie, which we all know. The whole world has triggers. I mean, come on, everything triggers everybody nowadays. So it could have been something from a trauma or something from the past that could have triggered it. Did it make her do that? No, but it could have triggered something, just like with a veteran who has PTSD and hears fireworks, right? So that could cause a trigger, but I wouldn't say that was the reason why the whole reason why.
I would agree. Now, given that this is your the world you live in, the world you stream in, talk to us. Is this a North American thing? Do we just love? Even from Mexico to the U.S. to Canada, it horror, the genre seems to be really big here. And I mean, I lived in Dubai, like
Oh, nice.
15 plus years ago, and I saw Halloween starting to trickle in over there. But now, we're in 2025. I feel like the horror genre, Halloween, and this kind of macabre, spooky, the whole aesthetic is starting to become a thing globally.
It is.
It is, right? Am I like I thought I was
Halloween?
reading?
Yeah.
Starting, or I mean, I think about like certainly in Latin America. I'm thinking horror movies have been huge for years.
Internationally,
right?
horror movies? Yeah.
Italy is
Really?
famous. We import the Italian ones. Always have.
They say that the first real horror movie was done either by France or Japanese in the 1800s. So technically, even later than that, there was considered a Western was one of the first horror movies. They say horror is very well in international. Japan, China are two places that have a ton of horror history. But it didn't start becoming big like it is now until much later on. But Indonesia and Taiwan, I'm going to say about 10, maybe 15 years ago, just started getting into the whole horror scene with their horror movies. They were inspired by J-horror, which is Japanese horror. And a lot of the films that the international have are created from their folklore, their mythology, their own culture, which is scary as hell. I mean,
the Japanese stuff, like the ghost stories. I remember when I was a kid, I would listen to CBS Mystery Theater, the radio show.
Yeah.
And they had some of the most terrifying ones were Japanese ghost stories.
Oh my God, right? Ju-on and Rangu, they're in the North America did remake their movies, but they lost something in that translation because you can't replicate Ju-on, the creepiness of Ju-on, which is The Grudge. They recreated in North America called The Grudge, and they did a couple of them. Actually, Sam Raimi did one in, I want to say 2022. But they missed something.
Is a do-over of a Japanese movie.
Yeah. There's a lot of Japanese movies that people have no idea that were remade in North America that originally came from Japan or even China. China's got some crazy stories too.
Really? Well, what about that Korean film a couple of years ago that Trump was mad about winning Best Picture? The
Parasite.
Korean, like Parasite.
Oh yeah, Parasite.
That was excellent.
I noticed like Korea and other countries, they haven't been doing horror. Maybe they have been. I don't know. I didn't see international horror as a little girl because we didn't have the internet. We didn't have that kind of stuff. And the bit that I do know is that a lot of the countries like Korea, Taiwan, Indonesia, they're I don't want to say new to horror, but they're starting to embrace it even more. That's why you're seeing more films and TV series coming out of Korea, most likely South Korea, but like Alive, and there's a whole schwackload, and it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger as the years go on.
Wow, I love that. I've the very limited, like you. I mean, we didn't have YouTube growing up, right? Like it wasn't there in the 80s, but I remember hearing like ghost stories from like older cousins that were they're immigrants from Laos, and they wasn't all like war stories. These are like hundreds of years old ghost stories that creep the hell out of me. So obviously the world, all around the world, everybody has their ghost stories and their secret obsession with the macabre, but I would say it was Western culture that made it boom, like in terms of like marketing and stuff, right? Like I love like Edgar Allan Poe, the UK, the Raven, just stuff like that. Like it just the marketing came from.
Well, Edgar Allan Poe is a New Yorker.
I'm saying like in my mind, like that's the aesthetic in the UK is like the look of like the dark, foggy London streets and like a Jack the Ripper, and
Mary Shelley is where we get Frankenstein's monster, right? Prometheus is what the name is. Obviously, I'm the bride of Frankenstein. You caught me when I was in the process of doing my Halloween costume. I'm not fully done yet, but
great.
Thank you. That's where we get Frankenstein's monster from. We get a lot of that. I mean, and the UK had Hammer Horror, which Christopher Lee. There's so many.
Those are my favorite. I like
I
like the modern vampire movies, like Near Dark and stuff like that.
I love Near Dark. It's I think that one's underrated. It got pulled out because Lost Boys.
Yeah, and I like the modern takes like True Blood and all that. But I mean, I definitely, for me, if you're like a pure, to me, Nosferatu, the vampire, you can't impeach it because it's OG. But if I just want to like introduce like my kid, like let's look at vampire movies, you got to go, you got to go Hammer. You gotta.
The Hammer and Universal. And I have two daughters that are now adults, and they started off. They're both horror fans, but the youngest one is more like me. She's like live and breathe horror. I started them off at, when they're little, Tim Burton, Frankenweenie.
Me too.
Beetlejuice, stuff like that. But I think I was 5, 7, 8. I started introducing them to Hammer Horror, some Hammer Horror, because there was a lot of, I wouldn't say sexual scenes in Hammer Horror back then, because there wasn't, but there was more like seduction instead of all out plain just sex. But I did classic monster, Universal monsters. I started them off on the black and white movies, Phantom of the Opera. And then as they got older, of course, the slasher genre, the ghost genre, Stephen King, Of
course. I mean, I got to say, Tim Burton to me is too mannered. It's like, to me, good horror relies on the ability to relies on suspension of disbelief. And when you're watching a Tim Burton movie, at least for me, I'm always aware I'm watching a movie. I'm never fall through the third wall. I'm always
Not
there.
Me. Maybe I'm also from Southern California. Tim Burton's from Burbank, California. I went to college in Burbank. Like, this is like, he was the man, right? Like, Tim Burton's the man in Burbank. Like, he's like he might as well be the forever mayor of Burbank.
I appreciate the craft, but I'm just saying, like, take the culture out of it. It's just sort of like,
I love the imagination that comes from, like, he makes, for me, how I view the Tim Burton aesthetic is that he takes what would otherwise be seen as like satanistic horror, like bad things, and turn them into something approachable and sweet,
whimsical almost.
Like, yes, whimsical. The Tim Burton world is whimsical. I mean, look at Edward Scissorhands. He takes what would otherwise be, it's basically the story of Frankenstein's monster, right?
Yes.
Basically the same story, but turns it into this heart-wrenching, like, how do you not love Johnny Depp as Edward Scissorhands, right? How do you not love all the colorful characters and that whole, like, for me, I fall into the whole Tim Burton world. Like, I love it. My son, who's 7, loves it. On
like sort of the current wave of, I don't know, I would call it maybe horror 4.0, right? Where it's like, that sort of originates with Saw and Insidious.
That Eli Roth is
highly atmospheric.
Had a crush on him.
I like Eli Roth stuff, and Saw was like one of the first mainstream horror movies that were so graphic and so visceral. We didn't see anything like that in mainstream horror. And when I say mainstream horror, I mean in the movie theaters. Besides, like
Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something, but that wasn't even mainstream at the time.
No, that wasn't even mainstream. And in TCM, a lot of people think there's a lot of gore in TCM, but Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre has very little gore, if anything. He wanted your mind to create
or Last
the
House
visuals.
on the Left or something like that.
And with Saw, and then Hostel came right after that, right? A lot of people like to call Saw and Hostel torture porn, but I don't think it's torture porn. It's just more of an aggressive visuals of creating movies and getting a message across. Real life is horrific. We see what we as humans do to one another. We blow each other up. We do a whole lot of horrible things. And I think Saw and Hostel and those types of movies show that in reality. Like, okay, of course it's, hopefully no one copycats that and you don't have people handcuffing you to the thing here to saw off your leg or something.
Yeah.
But I think it relates to how the world was or is evolving to in that time. Was it 2004 Saw came out? I want to say.
Is there a political message or cultural message that these, or are these, it's just or is it just a cash grab? You know, we be violent. No,
I think
we like to see violent shit.
I think horror is inherently political. Horror has always rooted for the underdog. Horror has always brought society's ugliness to the surface without shoving it down your throat. Now, there are political directors. You have Peele, Jordan Peele. His movies are very aggressively political. And some of them are good.
The guy who did the original Candyman, right? Like, was that John Carpenter?
No, that's Halloween. Who did Candyman?
The original
Candyman was political. If you take a look at it talks about racism. It talks about how and Nia DaCosta's Candyman only brings that out even more in a modern day society, because 1992 is when Candyman came out. Different era, different time.
Great movie.
Love the 90s, man. I wish we can go back. But her movie, her take on it as a director has brought in even more. Because I think horror movie has always been inherently political. Nosferatu 1921, 1922, that came out around the same time that Germany was having their economy was crashing.
Right.
And if you watch vampire movies and when they come out, take a look at the economic situation in the countries that they're coming out in.
That's so cool.
When we have those, and I'm not talking about, well, right now, I mean, you got Terrifier, which is gory as hell. And I think that plays with society today and how crazy and ugly humanity has gotten over the last 10 years and how we're at each other's throats for difference of freaking opinion.
Why do people get so upset at horror movies, which are fiction, and no real humans are harmed in the making of this movie,
right?
But at the same time, they could read that like a fisherman in Venezuela is blown up by an American drone and by the president, and people they shrug their shoulders and they just move on and just keep scrolling.
Isn't it?
Why are we upset about the thing that's not real and not upset about the thing that is real?
Well, Ted, it's a reflection, right, guys? Like you guys are saying, like the movies, whether it's horror, whatever genre, movies have always been a reflection of what's happening in real life in that particular period of time. And by the way, Candyman, director Bernard Rose, writers Clive Barker and Bernard Rose.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, so I knew Clive, but I couldn't remember.
1992, so that was it. And with I feel like the popularity of whether it's like a action movie where people are being blown up, because Americans and it's probably the same in Canada. You guys love big blow up movies like us, right? Like people blowing everything up, blowing off arms, like war movies, horror movies, terror movies. We all clamor to watch those, and I think I don't know, maybe Ted, I think it could be a reflection of the darkest side of humanity, of the things we would want to do, but we cannot, and most of us will not.
But we are doing, right?
Most of us
we do them
in a way.
The question, is it because it does force us to confront something about ourselves that we don't really like?
I think it does. I think for some people it does. I also feel religion plays a huge role in that. I mean, as a horror content creator, I have been in the industry creating content for almost 9 years now. And I play horror games. I'm a woman. Horror, usually a lot of slashers are always violence against women, but it always shows the true strength of a woman. That society always, puts down women. Doesn't matter what society or where we are in the world, but it's usually the final girl who gets through everything. No matter what is going on, she's being hunted by a killer, she's beaten up, all her friends are dead, she's got all this trauma, but here she is at the end of the day, she's kicking some booty.
But only the brunette, right?
Right? I get tired. That is true. I get tired of the tropes. But I also think religion, because when I started, people would come
And
into
the
my
black
stream.
chick's always doomed. Always.
Yeah. Oh God. The token. Yeah. The
black
token.
chick is
Guys or
basically,
girls?
she's the equivalent of the cop buddy movie with the black partner who
Yeah.
was killed and must be avenged. Sorry, Danny
And
Glover.
I'm hoping that changes. I'm hoping as horror evolves, that changes, because there's a lot of tropes that we can get rid of, especially the slut girl. You know what? Just because she's promiscuous doesn't make her horrible, because that jock over there, I'm sure he had more chicks than she had men. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But people would call me evil, and that I support violence against women because I liked horror. But they come from a religious background. And I think religion, doesn't matter your religion, Christian, whatever the hell it may be, I think religion also plays a role with some of those people.
Wow. Yeah. They're still what I would call uptight people that
Stick
don't
firmly up ass.
have a lot of fun, right? Like for me, I watch this stuff, and like I pointed out, like I loved watching Elvira. I mean, we had like 5 channels to choose from on terrestrial television in the 80s, but Elvira, was there in the middle of the night, right? If I'd sneak out and go physically, you have to turn on the TV, right? Turning the knob.
No remote.
Wait,
right.
You must have lived in a huge house if you could watch television even at low volume without your parents finding out.
Well, the house was small, but the way the house was like the living room was on the opposite end of the house from my parents' bedroom. So I'd be able to go to bed and then sneak out in the middle of the night and then watch Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. And I was always, I'll tell you, I think that's where my my boob obsession came from, where I was always, because I'm a skinny little Asian woman, right? Like that's not how God made me. So I grew up like admiring that whole look, the whole Elvira look, like that pale skin and the big black hair and the big boobs and the tiny waist. And I was like, she's so cool, like the Morticia Addams. And I always thought that was so cool. And because she was so witty, and I loved that about Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, because she just took no shit from
tongue
anybody.
Is also planted very firmly in cheek. Right?
Yes, but for a kid, that's when you're 8 years old and you're seeing what you believe is this strong, beautiful woman that doesn't look like everybody else.
No,
right? Because there was nobody that looked like me other than Connie Chung on TV, right? So I wasn't a blonde bombshell. I couldn't look on TV and find, so I found Elvira and I loved her. Loved her.
So you
because she was the oddball.
You were like, I relate to her.
I love
Elvira, but I can't imagine anyone really.
I
related to her.
Yeah, I think a lot of young girls who felt misplaced and out of society, because I wasn't I was not a cute kid. I don't think I was. I was a loner. So I turned to books and horror movies. Frankenstein's monster is who I relate to, because I was always I felt misunderstood. I felt like an outcast in my society. I was the person that had the rolled up Fangoria in the back pocket, sitting on the playground reading by myself because I didn't have a lot of friends. So I related to a lot of that. And my grandmother showed me, what's his Red Skelton, where Vampira, who was the first queen of Scream before Elvira ever came out. And she was in the 50s and 30s and 40s and 50s. And she was our first glamour ghoul. She didn't have the big boobs like Elvira did, but she had the tiny little waist that she would train. And she had this scream that was almost like she was having an orgasm when she opened up her show, which was at midnight. And the scream was crazy. She was the first scream queen. And technically she was the first goth that never stepped foot out, because her look was iconic. The long black hair, her eyebrows went straight up into like points and down. It's where Elvira kind of got her idea and her foot started, was Mia Norme. I'm probably not saying her name correctly, but she was the one who played Vampira. And
Inspo.
Yeah, so I think it was that was my first, and then of course Elvira came along in the 80s, and seeing Elvira, and then we also had Rhonda Shear with Up All Night, and Joe Bob Briggs with Monster Vision in the 90s.
Oh, Joe Bob Briggs.
I love Joe Bob.
With the drive-in movie column. I miss it.
Yes, yeah, he was
like
awesome because he did all movies, drive-in wise, right? But those
I remember that.
were all of my inspirations growing up. Was Frankenstein's monster, Elvira, Vampira.
Guys, what's your favorite genre of horror movie? I mean, for me, I'm kind of usually there if it's vampires. I'm usually there if it's werewolves.
Love werewolves.
Zombies, I'll show up and check it out, but it's not guaranteed because sometimes it's not that exciting to me. But I like zombies. But I don't like fast zombies. I don't like super slow zombies. They both feel they both feel like World War Z. Just like I was like,
they're moving too fast.
Well, it's World War Z was like, okay,
zombies.
if they're that spazzy, well, then it's all going to be over in like 15 minutes. So there's no tension there, right?
Come on.
Humans can't survive. But I mean, so what's your favorite genres?
I have so many. I love monster movies. Frankenstein's monster,
Godzilla.
ReAnimateHer from 1985. Hence my name, ReAnimateHer.
ReAnimateHer is so good.
That's where I got my name from. It's ReAnimateHer, and then I was like, I'm a her, so ReAnimateHer,
right.
and I love
it.
Frankenstein monster movies.
I haven't seen it since it came out, and I saw it in the theater. But correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't there like a part where he's the ReAnimateHer guy is like he's a mad scientist and he's
Dr. Herbert West
and he's looking to rent a place to do his experiment. So he's like, he goes to a place like basically early proto Airbnb, and it's like, and he's like, do you have a basement?
Yeah,
is that in there? Okay.
Jeffrey Combs and Dr. Herbert West, which is loosely based off of H.P. Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft's Dr. Herbert West, right? I love that movie.
Ghost. The Ghost is mine. I love so many. I love zombies.
Ghost Story is a really great movie that nobody ever talks about.
I don't know that I've even seen a ton, but
Ghost is cheesy.
I love Ghost, and especially it's especially creepy to me when you incorporate like the original Poltergeist, when you incorporate religion. Yeah, like religion and like
aged well for me. I didn't really appreciate it at the time, but I do now. I don't like
here in
to me. It's like a ancient Indian burial ground story. I'm like,
Yeah,
but I believe in spirits and stuff. So I believe in that, like,
too.
Ooh, I believe.
Well,
plus the Pet Cemetery looks like my cat, so I love that part.
I love Pet Cemetery is good. The remake wasn't bad either. The book is good. The book is better than the movies, though.
Oh, really? Well, yeah, no, I agree with that for sure.
Well, it's not usually.
However, you can't go wrong with the Ramones soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to be buried in the Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
I don't want to live my life again.
I wouldn't want to either.
I love this. I love this conversation. I love that the producer Robbie found you, and I hope you'll be back to talk more. Like not only at Halloween, because like movies are fun, and I think more people. Really, I feel like this blows off steam. I think if people watch like horror and people like loosen up, and there's some like very cheeky horror movies. Like I couldn't even name them. The cheekiness is what I get a kick out of, like because you get the scary, the macabre aesthetic that your eyes see, but your ears, what you're hearing is like cheeky dialogue.
Yeah. Abbott Costello meet Frankenstein. I love Abbott and Costello. You have a lot of fun like that. I also think people love horror movies because they can it provides a safe way to experience the emotion fear, right? It's also kind of gets you out of reality because reality is more horrific than any kind of horror movie that's out there. So I think that allows us to experience something and to get away from it for a little bit.
Very true. A little bit of escapism, and it's fun to get creeped out if it's
it is
like it's fun, especially if you're like on a date.
It's the same impulse as riding a roller coaster.
Yeah, or eating some chocolate.
or or
yeah.
adventure travel, or any number of things that are
Right.
hell, getting up in an airplane.
Yeah.
You can do it from your living room. That's the
And
great
it's
thing. And
safe.
so
You don't
I
have
love,
to.
yeah.
Exactly. It's safe. You don't have to go anywhere to get that experience, to get that thrill. You can get the experience of fear without leaving your home.
And
Yeah,
also,
I'm gonna
horror
put
is an
your
extremely it's an extremely it's a space for a lot of highly really let your imagination run wild. I mean, you get a lot of the ability to do creative stuff in that genre is a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
bigger than in, like, say, a rom-com.
Yeah, love it. Are there any rom-com horror films?
Yes, there is.
Yeah, there
Hard
are.
Eyes recently came out, which has a lot of romantic comedy titles in the dialogue. If you
I
haven't seen
love
Hard
that.
Eyes, do see Hard Eyes. It
Hard
is
Eyes. Okay.
yeah.
I
Also,
gotta look
My
that
Bloody
up.
Valentine in the 80s came out, which then
Mhm.
was remade later on, and My Bloody Valentine 3D. But Hard Eyes is more of a horror romantic than My Bloody Valentine.
I gotta look that up. I gotta admit, I've never seen a
There's a
rom-com
lot.
horror.
There's a lot of them. Yeah.
So this is her channel. I've got it up here
Oh,
on YouTube.
thank you.
She's live Wednesday and Thursday. ReAnimateHer. It's a tongue twister for me. The streaming queen of Scream.
Yeah, I just started on Rumble as well. I mean, 4 days ago. I just
good.
came over to Rumble, and
the water's good.
I'm liking it so far. It's been very welcoming. So it's been great. But I am on
left
YouTube.
Rumblers are
haters.
good people. Yeah.
Yeah, Rumblers they're very open-minded because our Rumble is our home base. You will not be censored, and you're not gonna find the people with the sticks up their butts to tell you like, oh, you're tacitly approving women being raped and killed in these movies. You're not gonna find that on Rumble. So the
That's
people
good.
are like
That's good.
Good humored.
Yeah, I'm loving it here so
ReAnimateHer.
far.
We're glad that you joined us. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to have met you. This has been a fun and enlightening conversation for people to go check out the genre. Like, it's fun. And I feel like people that are like, I know people see like the gothy looking people out there in the world, and they think they're going to be like all doom and gloom and dark.
No, that's some of the happiest people going.
That's never been my experience.
Yes. That's never been my experience. I have friends that are like the goth kids, in high school in the 90s.
Yeah, they're great.
And they were not doom and gloom. They were actually like they had the most levity, and they were hilarious. But that was just their aesthetic, and people didn't get that. So
yeah, 100%. I wear a lot of black. People think I'm sad all the time. I just like black. It makes me look thinner as well. So,
well, when I was in first or second grade, the art teacher reported me to the school psychiatrist because I only used the black crayon, and it was like future cartoonist,
Yeah, my
I
youngest
still only
one,
use the black crayon.
I was called into her school when she was in elementary school because she constantly drew dead people, but she was fascinated with death, and I have been a horror collector for over 25 years. So my house is filled with all different types of horror memorabilia and pictures, and I tried to like shield the grossness stuff of it from my kids, but I got called in because she was drawing dead people, just stick figure dead people. But she was fascinated with death. And I don't see anything wrong with that. She was very curious about death.
Yeah.
And the teacher was very concerned.
We're all curious about death, right? I mean,
we all are. And I'm just like, she's just curious.
Yes.
Now she's an artist and she's in university for criminology. But
oh, wow.
My son got in trouble for always drawing scenes of war and violence. And it's like,
my son draws scenes of war and violence.
I'm a conflict reporter too, right? So like,
look at the environment.
I've been a news reporter for 20 years. So of course my kid is drawing like volcanoes erupting and villagers running. And I've been a news reporter for 20 years. Like, what do you think my kid
Look
is
at their environment.
draw?
Look at society. We have war going on. I mean,
yeah, we do.
That's hilarious that we have like these weird kids. We've got these weird kids on this show.
Awesome kids.
But awesomely weird kids, and those are the kids that like are not. I'm glad that they marched to their own drum. But that's, oh my gosh, a
Yeah.
whole different conversation if we can talk about why North America, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just the US and Canada, Western culture, death is so taboo. And
Yeah,
it's
I don't know
not
why.
in other cultures. It's not
No.
Not
an
at
Like
Asian
the Day
culture
of the
to talk about
Dead.
it.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I think the Day of the Dead is a beautiful thing in
I agree.
Mexican culture, and I think it's beautiful. They celebrate their dead.
Yeah.
They hang out with their dead for the day. They celebrate it. They
We do
party. I
that
think
too,
that's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, we do that in Asian cultures too. I would love to have that
Yeah.
conversation with you another day.
For sure.
So we don't take up your whole of Halloween.
Yeah,
But love
Halloween's a
this
high holiday.
conversation. You're awesome. You guys go check out her channel. Go to her Rumble channel, go show her some love there. It's brand new. Under the same
Yeah.
handle.
Yeah, I'm ReAnimateHer all over the interwebs. I'm everywhere. I'm like Frank's Red Hot Sauce. I put that shit on everything.
Thank you
Seems
so
like a good
much for
place.
joining us.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
for
you
having
so
me.
much.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Halloween,
We'll let you
everybody.
get back to your makeup. We think you
Okay.
look great, but
True.
Thank you. Thank you.
the more the merrier.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Oh, that. See, that is fun Friday.
She's
Fun
great.
Friday
Yeah.
films. She's great. Love it. I loved as soon as Robbie showed me her channel, I was like, oh my God, I'm in love. Love her. People don't know this about me. This is like what I'm into, but people, because you look at me and you think I'm a plain Jane.
I don't know. It doesn't shock me that you'd be into spooky movies from your looks.
I'm such a plain Jane.
It's the overall package. I mean, I have known a certain kind of Asian girl who likes horror movies, and you fit into that sort of.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know any other Asian girls that like horror.
Then you got to dump your current Asian buddies and get some better ones.
My Asian friends. I'm sorry, you're all fired. No, because we like the misfit Asian friends that I have are not. This won't surprise you, Ted. Like, first of all, there was a limited number of Asian kids in like the San Gabriel Valley, East Los Angeles area, right?
Mhm.
So, you kind of get to know a little bit of everybody and what parts of Asia their families are from, and we're all the firstborn in our family or whatever. But you had like the nerd Asians,
Mhm.
right? That are like, I'm a Leo's Club member and a chess team member.
Yeah. Fun times.
And then you had like the misfit Asians. So even though I was like a little bit of an honor student here and there, I was a cheerleader, I was a thespian, but I was also the kid that was the cheerleader that was smoking a cigarette underneath the bleachers. True story. Like literally true story, because turned 18 while I was a senior in high school. So I was literally the cheerleader, like with a cigarette dangling out of my lip under the bleachers. But my Asian friends were the misfit Asian kids that are like, we're like, oh yeah, Depeche Mode's coming to the Coliseum. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're like into The Cure and Depeche Mode and stuff like that. And it was those kids and the nerd Asian kids, even though I had them in my class, they didn't hang out with me. So there's only two types of Asians at my school. It was the misfit ones or like the nerd smart ones. So I had them in class, but they didn't hang out with me outside of class. So there you are. But really not many of them were into this movie genre. So I just didn't think Asians liked this genre. That it was like a me thing.
No, Japanese girls in particular are dark.
Really?
Yeah.
I only have 2 Japanese friends that I grew up with, so
that's why.
I don't really know. So there not a lot of us in like the East LA area.
Well,
just saying. Anyway, that's all we got for you. Happy Halloween. Again, I implore everybody, if you're in the United States, it gets dark really early. Please don't drive in a hurry, please. There are small children everywhere today.
Yeah, just leave early.
Please. Leave early.
Leave early. Take your time, or better yet, seriously, Netflix and chill tonight and watch some horror
Yeah,
movies.
just stay inside because they're for whatever reason, Ted, since COVID, do you know that all pedestrian deaths have risen since COVID?
Since COVID.
Yeah. It was going down.
I
and
would
then
have thought that during
all
COVID they would go up because people were driving like fucking maniacs.
Yeah, and that
Well, no one
hasn't
stops
changed.
no one stops at stop signs anymore. I mean,
Yes.
I strongly recommend that, like, if you're a pedestrian, just seriously don't assume people will stop.
Yes. So I'm just going to point that out one more time because you have no idea in this area of Northern Virginia, Ted, I'm shocked at how many pedestrian deaths are reported within this 5-mile radius of where I live. Like, it's almost every week there's at least one pedestrian death. It's nuts. Oh, there's Clovis running in the background. Okay, so that's it. Happy Halloween. If you're stay indoors, watch some scary movie because there's a lot of them to choose from now, and it's awesome. Go, you know what I found on the interwebs, Ted? The old Tales from the Crypt. Oh, we can't hear you. You're muted. Tales from the Crypt. Nope, you're still muted. Anyway, that's it. So go watch something fun. It's Halloween. Adios, Ted. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, everybody. Happy Halloween. We'll be back on Monday. Thanks for being with us. Adios, amigos. Bye.
Bye.